This video is intended to describe a lightblade talisman named Abundance, which would be the 18th rendition in short succession. Joining me on this tour today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map, seen right here. And like I mentioned, this would be the 18th rendition, which means there are 17 predecessors to this primary blade band of Abundance in distribution and operational status at the time of this video. So hopping straight into the abundance ratio of the primary blade band seen right here would be clear quartz, like so, to work as a neutral programmable accelerant of the blade band ignition sequence. Going into emerald, the quintessential green ray heart chakra stimulant of abundance, unparalleled mineral kingdom just about, as a tremendous, overt, obvious frequency of abundance and royal notarization throughout the human consciousness collective memory, which obviously derives a lot of faith off that morphic field of that particular emanation of green ray abundance of royal notoriety being well notarized in human morphic field history. Going into rutilated quartz, which is clear quartz with bands of rutile, which is a titanium oxide, which works as a super acceleration of this ignition sequence of dramatically intensifying the overture of the energy going into peridot. Peridot is a fantastic third and fourth chakra stimulant, that of growth, which is basically the vibrational equivalent of chlorophyll, how all this indeed is possible, growth, which serves as a tremendous increase frequency, which is very advantageous for blessing one's endeavors into prosperity and abundance in all manners. Going into clear quartz to once again be a neutral acceleration, into emerald, into golden healer quartz, seen right here. Golden healer quartz is an exceptional gold-white light source high heart frequency stimulant, that of the source emanations of creation, which is obviously advantageous in a metaphysically based vibrational circuit to have the emanations of the great central sun of creation as a subcapacitation agent obviously goes a long way. Going into peridot, clear quartz, and so on, completing the abundance primary blade band emanation scaffolding. Then grounding into the transmutation ratio, which runs laterally like so, up the sides to this lateral band once again, as well as this side right here, completing that circuit, which also works as a transmutation ratio blade band scaffolding. And what that means, the combination of smoky quartz to serve as a great transmutation agent by grounding all excess energy into the earth for reprocessing, in tandem with hematite, an iron-based mineral that has a very powerful grounding of energy through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing. So the two in tandem are what I've deemed the transmutation ratio, based on the similar vibratory ignition sequence of the same energetic pathway, which serves as a tremendous boon to anchor the excess foundation of this energy into tangible range. So what that also means too, with the combination of these two working together in the transmutation ratio, is that it takes all the excess energy, grounds it through the root, into the earth stars, and into earth for reprocessing, which could be almost considered a two-way energetic dialysis of grounding all excess energy into earth for constant reprocessing, which can also be denoted to being etheric Teflon to ensure the contact patch always is transmuting and buffering, grounding out, arcing all excess undesirable energies, for example, for constant reprocessing. As well as it works as a fantastic contingency to, of course, ground out the entire scaffolding of this energy of this device that is yet to be mentioned of many a high vibratory crystal in one frequency circuit, as a great way, of course, to actually ground and arc and contain the energy, as well as be a fantastic contingency to actually make the magic real, to bring the tangibility range into earth to fulfill its primary directives. Then right here will be the apex band, where eventually a necklace will be installed right here, starting off with ruby, the quintessential red ray stone of antiquity and notoriety of being opulent, precious notarization, being a tremendous root chakra stimulant. Going to clear quartz to neutrally accelerate into blue sapphire. Another stone of royal antiquity and opulence be the fifth and sixth chakra stimulation of wind elemental composition. So when you combine the two of those together in theory, of the extremes of complementary cousins of the same hardness of 8.5, which out of 10, which gives it a very dense atomical structure. So the emanation of the red and blue ray here are very vibrant, very strong in their oscillation. And so there you have it. the perpetual blue and red ray in the most royal opulent configuration to, of course, honor the homage of the great opulence and notarization of both the emerald and the peridot as true precious stones of notoriety and abundance and opulence to be the primary blade band scaffolding. So moving on to the blade facing scene down here would be fulgurite. Fulgurite is literally petrified lightning, where lightning actually struck sand to make this crystal. So that has very intensive consequences to the energy body in alignment of having a dramatic full lightning body being mimicked, which is a very powerful dramatic light body stimulant from top to bottom, all the chakra column with great intensification, as well as being well notarized for being a spirit tool of First Nation shamans to intensify their prayers back to spirit, back to creator, back to source through intensive focused energy of literally mimicking the energy of lightning back to spirit with their prayers. So even having that, a small dose of that, wire wrapped and terminated to a primary wire goes a very long way for vibrational compound interest of such a ambitiously diverse construct for its technically wearable clandestine size. So, of course, full light by stimulation of literally lightning through the whole structure, but not to worry, there's many contingencies in play to stabilize and get the most out of it without having the overture of the excess arcing, hence the notarization of the transmutation ratio to ground the most out of it has already been accomplished, as well as many other elements will come into play to understand the whole contingency of the concept. Then right here would be Libyan gold tektite. Libyan gold tektite is a very mysterious, powerful space rock, perhaps. Scientific jury is still out on the exact composition of how this was crafted, but long story short, what's relevant is that this was a stone utilized by ancient pharaoh castes to be carved into scarab beetles to be put on their power breastplates to be, of course, denoting their badge of office as Magi God King. So that mystical power of the extreme gold ray stimulation has a tremendous solar plexus and sacrum stimulation, yet is also a full light body stimulant as well as a dharmic accelerant, which means, of course, having the intentional focus of one's dharma fully manifest in their path is highly augmented with this particular pharaohic gem. So, that also I refer to as goldavite, as a friendly, playful way to honor it, as well as being a gold ray cousin, vibrationally speaking, to the lovely legendary moldavite seen right here. So moldavite is quite famous or infamous in this timeline due to its notarization as a true, powerful dharmic accelerant to one's highest path manifest through the extreme green ray focus of the heart chakra in alignment with source, which has gained a bit of a bad rap due to the fact that it can destroy one's life by dismantling the false self matrix that impedes one's connection to creation so dramatically that can ruin one's life, as they've been claiming on TikTok. But once again, there's many contingencies in this structure to mitigate the timeline whiplash to get the most out of it so it is smooth as possible in the dharmic acceleration transference. At least that's the intentional design thus far. So that'll be moldavite, the quintessential green ray heart chakra high source stimulation contact patch. Then right here would be ruby and zoisite, seen right here. Ruby, like mentioned up here with the apex band, is the quintessential red ray stimulant of the mineral kingdom of precious notoriety, and very well notarized and basically, of course, deified almost back in ancient times as a precious stone of magic for the root chakra stimulation. But what's really nice about this combination right here is that the zoisite, the green zoisite, works as a fantastic heart-mind coherence engager. So you have the trifecta of the red ray stimulation of ruby, the base of the scaffolding of the root chakra at the maximum stimulation, with the heart-mind coherence engaged like so. It makes for a truly tremendous trifecta of one's heart's mind manifested in very much with gusto as well. So that's a very nice homage to the heart-mind coherence in a very rooted, tangible fashion. Then above that is a lovely little bead of turquoise. Turquoise is a stone that is a favorite of millions for thousands of years for a pretty good reason, notarized across the world and praised since time almost immemorial, as far as we're concerned, as a fifth chakra stimulant corresponding of earth, fire, water, and wind. The four terrestrial elements that make up the medicine wheel as we know it is focused through the fifth. So that stone of wholeness capacity right there goes a very long way as a talisman of one's truth. Hence its placement right next to the harmonic coherence is all intentional, but I will not digress too far to stay on topic. So like mentioned, with the primary blade band scaffolding of the abundance ratio thus far in the 18th rendition is a dramatic exaggeration of the heart's receptivity towards one's true dharmic receptive birthright configuration. At least that is the intention of that dramatic octave acceleration. Now this right here plays a very pivotal role in all the abundance constructs to basically stabilize the entire exaggeration range. So what that means with moss green agate seen right here, all the jaspers and agates in the Mineral Kingdom are the most stabilized variety for that matter, but I'll notarize each of them individually. But the moss green agate right here is the most stabilized water elemental green ray heart chakra stimulant, but actually mostly a stabilizer, which, like I mentioned, works as a great way to be complementary to this exaggeration frequency to stabilize the heart so that the excessive octave of the projection of this abundance ratio that's in wide distribution at this point will also stabilize the receptivity so that the oscillation wavelengths do not distort upon the reception of one's dharmic appointed birthright abundance manifesting. It stays stable in the output and the input simultaneously. So that aspect is rather critical when it comes to vibratory outputs, is to actually have the stability to make it real and coherent. Then above that is a lovely piece of seraphinite. Seraphinite is an incredible stone named after the seraphim archangels and perhaps one of my top 5 favorite stones in the Mineral Kingdom based on its diverse, practical, metaphysical healing application utilization in a closed-loop circuit. So seraphinite, named after the seraphim archangels like I mentioned, has a very strong connotation to the seraphic realm. The seraphim beings are self-conscious entities close to source of great beneficence, which is pretty nice. So this stone by itself makes for another full light body stimulant of the mental, physical, emotional, spiritual bodies simultaneously. It makes a very nice harmonization and discharge of malware, stored programs from top and bottom of the auric field that would manifest as dis-ease. So it's a very powerful full light body stimulant and a master healer Mineral Kingdom, which is why it's there. I'll move on because there's much more to cover. So this right here will be blue lace agate. Blue lace agate is the quintessential 5th chakra stabilizer of the water elemental spectrum. So blue lace agate is very fantastic for stabilizing the 5th, which of course is the bottleneck of the physical body's energy as it condenses the circuit into the 5th chakra before it goes into the 6th, 7th, and so on. So having the strong, obvious connotation of blue lace agate on exposure right there is to, of course, honor the capacity to be of stabilizing the 5th, of speaking esoteric truths in service to those under the jurisdiction of this wielder, to have that prominent highlighted focus, to have the intelligibility to be able to convey these important messages in service to creation. That's kind of dramatic, but that's the big idea. And above that would be, I'm trying to get this girl to behave. There we go. Above that would be sugilite. Sugilite is a very fantastic violet 7th chakra, crown chakra stimulant of the Mineral Kingdom that actually has a full stimulation to the back to the Godhead. And it's a fantastic stone of divine inspiration, as well as being a bubble of light around the energy field is what it's most notarized for, and hence it was a relatively rare discovery. It was very well notarized about 10 years ago and actually has been highly out of distribution based on its extreme sought-after metaphysical properties for rockhounds. But luckily, the will of the Force has a way of of providing me particular exotic frequencies for my endeavors by auspicious means, and this is one of them. Having this sugilite right here is very quite amazing, because sugilite, particularly in that bright of purple range, is very exceedingly rare and expensive these days. But like I said, the will of the Force has a certain way, and divine providence smiled upon this construct with this sugilite to be a tremendous full psychic protection emanation, as well as a lovely crown chakra stimulant. And sugilite is very famous for making a full divine bubble light around the auric field of divine transmutation by bringing that strong divine overture into the tangible range, particularly with, of course, like I mentioned, the transmutation range, etc., etc. So that would be the primary blade banding blade face scene right here. So this next section, once all these components are notarized, we'll have this lovely green leather installed like so for many reasons, more than just aesthetic. So A, it's also a color therapy resonance of that lovely green leather, being another emanation governance of the entire closed loop circuit of the green ray as the heavy heart chakra broadcast of the abundance ratio. B, it also works the way to protect all these subtle stones stacked like so that play intrinsic roles so that these components do not shed or run away from the construct's original intentional design as much as possible. And also C works as a lovely insulation and condenser of the energy, so the energy has like a strong insulation condensing between the 2 points of the green ray emanation. And D, least but not last, but obviously not my prerogative, is also an aesthetic completion scene right here. So also it will look like a very completed construct once that's done. But indeed, that is not for looks, that actually is a functional component in this device. Just to get that very clear. Alright, here we go. I'll discuss this next section in one shot because they all play off each other with great pivotal function, actually. So starting right here would be the red jasper. Red jasper is the quintessential stabilizer of the root chakra in the mineral kingdom of great notoriety, which I will omit to save some time. Then right here would be fire agate. Fire agate is the fire elemental stabilizer of the root, sacrum, and solar plexus, the lower 3 chakras in the typical chakra map, as well as, once again, I'll notarize these because they're all very pivotal to have in concentration for this dissertation. Right here will be moss green agate, once again, to stabilize the heart chakra, water elemental range. Then, like I mentioned, blue lace agate right here to stabilize the water elemental 5th chakra, as well as holly blue agate seen right here, which is actually a purple ray agate that stabilizes the 6th and 7th chakras of wind elemental composition, which is basically taking the most stable varieties of the terrestrial 4 elements of earth, fire, water, and wind, what denotes as the medicine wheel, and having them represented the most stabilized varieties in this construct, of course, brings the stability of earth, fire, water, and wind in the intentional focus to be a lovely contingency for stabilizing the 4 terrestrial elements and generate stabilized equilibrium, which goes a long way in a complicated wearable construct. So that's why I discussed those guys in one shot, so they have context. Then right here, a very special calcium-based stone called star argonite. Star argonite, just like seraphinite, is a full light body stemming from top to bottom and rapidly... Oh, that's actually why this guy is here, not for looks, but actually keep my stick figure legible. Star argonite, like I mentioned, is a full light body stemming from top to bottom that works very quickly like seraphinite to dismantle any patterns of dis-ease that are not of the ideal etheric blueprint manifested in a physical body. So the two of them together naturally, of course, work fantastic, much like Ketchum fries for that capacity as a full light body stimulant. But also the calcium base works to clear very rapidly but very gently, thank goodness, any basically misfires in the system or any kind of vibrational inconsistencies manifesting as a dis-ease in that capacity as well. So it is a true master healer of this age as well, hence it's been utilized in the section where that will be covered by the leather hood for a distinct purpose to keep it protected. Then right above that is a very, speaking of calcite, terminated to each other, this is a very special variety of calcite above this as well. So this is just what would be considered a common stone of white calcite, which is I consider to be criminally underrated for its metaphysical application. As a white ray, full fire-based, clear of negativity, stagnancy from the auric field from the full electromagnetic spectrum of the 7 rays of light. Typically speaking, just keeping it pretty basic and simple. And what makes this particularly special is that this particular calcite actually is ocean-tumbled calcite, which means that Mother Ocean literally tumbled that particular stone for hundreds or thousands of years. God literally knows. But the big point of that, too, is the oceanic clearing imprintation has literally shaped the stone into what it is, which is very fantastic to have in crystalline structure in a closed-loop reactive circuit, just all generating vibrational compound interest for a basic vibratory output, much like organs of a sentient crystalline entity before me. So oceanic clearing goes a long way. Okay. So this right here is a light tech staple of black tektite. Black tektite is a product of nuclei meteorite impacting sand, carrying that extraterrestrial cosmic jolt into 3D reality from outer space, quite literally. And luckily, it's a black-gray stone, and why it's so well utilized for many years in virtually all constructs is for this particular feature. It's a very powerful vibrational threshold increaser from bottom to top, but since it's a black-gray stone, it actually has a very ground-up vibratory increasement the entire chakra calm, which also works as a very powerful light instrument in its own right. But luckily from a ground-up manner to bring the tangibility range of the increase of the energy from, like I'll say it 5 more times because it's more important than I can notarize almost, from the ground up to increase the base vibratory level of the entire construct, as well as strengthen the auric field of the wielder of this device. So that's, I think, decently notarized. Then right there, to be a perfect antithesis to that black ray, would be the white ray stone of Scoicite, the quintessential stone of divinity in my opinion. Has a very fantastic 6th and 7th chakra stimulant, as well as a higher energy body stimulant past the soul star and all the chakras back to the Godhead for higher self-contact patch continuity in a very calming, divine mind-centered way, which also serves as a great energetic installation of the witness self manifest in the conscious self. At least that's how I've been using it. Then this right here would be amber. Amber, not technically a mineral, but a very well notarized crystalline-ish frequency transmuter of abundance, which also serves as a fantastic transmutation agent to turn negativity into positivity through a very solar filter. So that's a lovely dose of good vibrations in the amber spectrum right there. Then this right here would be tiger's eye. Tiger's eye, another classic stone of antiquity utilization for metaphysical purposes, is a great stimulant of the base, sacrum, and solar plexus. Yet tiger's eye special alignment actually makes a very powerful straightening alignment of the lower 3 chakras, which fortifies, once again, the root, the sacrum, and the solar plexus of the lower 3 chakras and aligns them very powerfully, which of course works as a great contingency to the exaggeration octaves of etc., etc., etc. I won't rant, I'll continue, I'll stay on target. And this right here would be shungite. So even a small dose of shungite in a closed loop reactive circuit goes a very long way, and so shungite is quite in vogue in this timeline due to its notarization to mitigate EMF harmful artificial wavelengths of energy that can compromise our subtle DNA or just our general healthy vibratory output, or auric field, you should say. And that works as another great carbon-based transmutation agent that goes a very long way in a closed-loop reactive circuit. Then right here would be sunstone. Sunstone is a classic feldspar-based stimulant of the sacrum and solar plexus, as well as it works kind of like the yang to the yin of the green ray receptive overture. So the yang masculine aspect of sunstone being a very positive, beneficent, fiery, fun energy also is a great sacrum stimulant that has very, very fun, sunny energy. So it has a very tremendous way of making one just feel really good. So when you feel really good in the aspect of output and the reception of the intake of the green ray abundance for the reception of the abundance wavelength, it makes a great output intake closed loop circuit of the abundance ratio. They're found in virtually all the abundance constructs for exactly that purpose, just like the Mosseri and agate. They've been very critical in this great endeavor. Let's see. And that would be the entirety of, once again, where the green leather will be installed will actually be the hood of the device. At the very top right here of the core, which actually is oak, from quite literally right tip of my pen, my backyard, my buddy right there, that is the home tree of this device, which the oak drops things to the ground for me. I collect them, I sand them into a device, and here we are. So that'd be the oak core, which of course carries a dense atomical structure based on like its dense grain of being a strong wood, as well as being the wood of great notarization in human history, such as the wood of kings, gods, heroes, The list goes on. The mythology is quite vast on the purpose of oak, but in simplicity, what's relevant here is it makes for a very stabilized, strong foundation for the vibratory emanation of this lightblade talisman. And right here, this would be lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli is a quintessential classic stone of Egyptian magic crystalline utilization, and quite literally a favorite of millions for thousands of years for a very good reason. It is a quintessential stone of sovereign truth and power, and is a great 5th and 6th chakra stimulant of the wind elemental corresponding range, which is one sovereign truth. Hence, the apex point placement up here actually was quite critical, so it's always in view when worn and wielded by the recipient to have that sovereign truth be a highlighted intensive focus at the very apex of this construct. So, that, of course, has the aspects of one's highest truth and their siddhis or psychic gifts being very well in the forefront of their conscious self and the truth of who they are. And so that's the intentional construct of that right there. Okay, so last but not least, oftentimes I save this for last intentionally to describe the function of the selenites seen right here. Selenite is a fantastic gypsum-based stimulant of the 6th, 7th, and all the non-physical chakras back to one's higher self Godhead perception, making a two-way connection to the conscious self, which should be considered a gateway or key to higher self-perception reality, which is very fantastic by itself. And also works as a great clearer of negativity by high-frequency induction to clear stagnancies from the entire auric field and meridians simultaneously. So by itself, that's already quite the doozy to notarized out loud in a dissertation like this. But where it shines even more in any given spirit tool that passes through my hands into distribution is the aspect of taking this entire vibratory platform mentioned thus far in about 27 minutes and running through a circuit can purify all these elements. It can harmonize all these elements and intensify or accelerate all these elements. So when you take the aspect of the purification, the harmonization, and the amplification, intensification of this entire stone ignition sequence mentioned thus far, that's truly the triumph for a trio of metaphysical excellence as far as I'm concerned. Hence, it's a staple of my life's work on virtually all constructs for that exact distinct purpose. So, obviously, this guy covers a lot of ground. It's almost a veritable Swiss Army knife of metaphysical operating systems that can be technically worn on a person with great complexity and a very reactive construct. And to further intensify the grounding contact patch will be also the black kyanites seen on both sides. So on this rendition of this abundance construct, I utilized exclusively black kyanite seen right here on both sides of the selenite to be a very rapid surge protector of grounding all the excess energy once again into the root chakra, into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing at a very quick rate, which will also serve as a tremendous governance of the excess overture of the energy to transfer it into tangibility at a very, very, very dynamic quick rate. For this device is going to a very high sentient being who is very gifted. So the aspect of the tangibility range of black kyanite is what the high focus is, to take this entire overture pitch and make the consecutive grounding of the tangible range the priority of the transferable focus. Because kyanites, for that matter, are the most amazing energy transfers in the mineral kingdom. So having the black ray focus of bridging this entire complex network into the earth range at a very quick rate will be the most advantageous disposition for the recipient. At least that was my divine guidance on the subject, for whatever that is worth. So I believe that would be the entire notarization of the abundance platform in the 18th rendition. And like I mentioned about half an hour ago now, this would be the 18th rendition with 17 predecessors of pretty much this almost ideal vibratory blade band scaffolding in distribution in many variations of staves, wands, talismans, rings, stationary devices, you name it. There are 18 renditions now as of this guy is being born. Well, to anyone watching this, I pray you have an abundant day and may the force be with us all.